In this video, I'm going to show you how to set up your own Linux web server with Ubuntu and Apache2 and give yourself a free SSL certificate using Let's Encrypt. It's really not super difficult, and if you're able to do it yourself, you can save money on hosting by buying unmanaged servers like the Entry VPS from KnownHost, which at this moment is only $5 a month. Check them out in the description below. To start off, I have a brand new Ubuntu 24.04 server ready to go. I just need to log into it with SSH. If you're using a company like KnownHost to create the server, it's pretty easy. You just pay for it, give it a name, create a login, and you're done. You can remote into the server and do whatever you want with it. They even have different operating systems you can pick from. I'm more familiar with Ubuntu, so that's what I chose. To remote into a Linux server, you can open up the built-in terminal in Windows and simply type SSH and then your username at the host name. And for me, that would be root at 67.222.11.255. Then provide the password for that user, and you're in. To start off, let's install Apache. First, we need to make our server check for updates to any add-ons by typing apt update. When that's done, we install Apache, which is the web server software, by typing apt install Apache2. It'll ask to confirm and type Y and enter. And your web server should be working now. In the browser, we can visit the IP or hostname of your server, and you should see the default Apache web page like this. Now let's understand where our important files and folders are. Apache by default looks for website files under /var/www/html. In Linux, you can list the contents of a folder by typing ls and then the path. So type ls and then that path, and you'll see Apache has the pre-made index.html file there, and this is the file we just saw. This is where you'd put your website files though, assuming you're only going to have one site. If you do plan on hosting multiple sites, I'll have another video for that. Besides that folder, the configuration files for your site are stored in /etc/Apache2 and then sites available. If we use the ls command to list the contents, you'll see we have two configuration files here. The one that starts with 000 and a default SSL one. We'll stick with just the 000 default one for now, as we're going to use Certbot to manage our SSL, and the other file is more for configuring SSL yourself. Let's check out the contents of the config file by typing vi and then the file path. And vi is a text editor in Linux. This file only has 4 lines that really do anything at the moment. The rest is comments to help explain what's going on in the file. The way this file is set up currently, any web request to the server will show the website in the document root folder here. So if you pointed test.com and test.org to the server, both would end up showing the same files, the same website. Again, we'll make another video if you plan on hosting multiple different sites on your server, but for now, this is fine if we're just going to have one website. The email doesn't really matter, and also the other 2 lines just help determine where log files will go. So we basically don't need to touch this file. It already works. So to get out of here, type :QA! And hit enter. And let's get SSL working though. You can get free SSL certificates yourself from a place called Let's Encrypt, and they have a tool called Certbot that will set it up for you. Let's go to their site and follow the getting started instructions. And here is the Certbot client install link. We then pick our web server, which is Apache, and our operating system, which is Linux, and we'll choose pip. There's not much difference between the other option here, especially if you're starting from a new server anyways. Then down below, there's step-by-step instructions we follow. When I do these commands, I'm not going to include sudo. You might need to do this in your server though, but I don't, as I'm logged in as the root user anyways, and typing sudo is like the run as administrator command in Windows. So first, run this code on your server. Just copy and paste it and enter. We already did the app update earlier, so we can ignore that one. And with any of these, just confirm with Y when it asks. Then we'll set up a Python environment with this line of code. And then we'll use the Python environment to install Certbot with this line of code. And for my setup, I got an error when installing Certbot. And after doing some research, I also had to install these 2 things that weren't listed. And that would be apt install build essential and apt install python 3-dev. But after that, if we run the Certbot code, it installs fine. And the next step creates a symbolic link to our Certbot, which is like a shortcut if you're used to Windows. And finally, we can run the actual command that will create the certificate, certbot --Apache. This command will ask a few questions, and in the end, it'll want the domain name to make the certificate for. Then we just wait a few moments, and it's done. If we visit our site now, it automatically gets sent to HTTPS if it wasn't already. And if we check our certificate in the browser, it is a valid certificate. Back on our server, we can see what Certbot did by going back to our config file with the vi command. And you can always arrow up to see previous commands so you don't have to retype them. Here it added a rewrite rule that checks if the server name is our domain, and if so, changes it to HTTPS. This file only looks for non-HTTP traffic. So it also added a new file in our sites available called 000 default LE/SSL. And if we check out that file, it's looking for port 443 requests. And at the bottom of this, you can see it points to some certificates that Certbot made. And the rest is similar to our other config file. Again, it doesn't matter. We don't really need to touch any of this. It's just working already. Finally, let me show you an easy way to update your site's files, as I'm sure you're not going to keep the default Apache one. So we're going to download a free program called WinSCP, and this app will basically allow you to drag and drop files to your Linux server. In this program, click on New tab, provide the server name or IP, and click Login. There'll be a security warning you just need to accept, and then provide your username and password to log in, just like we did in the terminal. And once we're in, you just have access to the full file system in your Linux server, and we can just browse and copy and paste or drag files to our var www HTML folder to update them. To show you that, I'm just going to right-click on our index file and edit it. And in our text editor, we'll just change it to a very simple page and then save and close. And now if we refresh our site, we see the changes instantly. And that's about it. Hopefully for you out there just making simple websites, this can save you some money by allowing you to do it yourself and not paying extra for the pre-configured hosting solutions. And if you have any questions about this, let me know in the comments. And thanks for checking it out.